The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel.
Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new.
I am Sonny Jaldon and I am streaming live from San Jose, California.
And I'm Haydee Jaldon, streaming live from Cebu City.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Money and More, Season 3, Episode 37 on TNC. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. Good to see you, Haydee. How is everything back there?
Well, it's not actually great here because the weekend during the weekend I was sick, no, but I'm okay now. So
Mhm.
hindi ko masyadong na-enjoy yung weekend actually. So
Um,
kamusta dyan? Kamusta dyan?
in the,
Sabi mo malamig na dyan.
yeah,
Nag-umpisa na.
it's already in the middle of the autumn season, fall season. It's almost the holiday season. At least dito sa US, Thanksgiving is one of the biggest holidays. So we're approaching that now on the 24th. So that's next week. But the big news here is is the weirdest week ever. No, last week
How is that?
because of so many things that has happened. So the Fed has that was ago, but we have massive layoffs from Facebook, for example. No,
Yeah, I heard.
massive layoffs here in
Kawawa,
Facebook.
no? Tapos ano,
So that's
papalapit pa yung Christmas.
right. So that's 11,000 na layoff. And that is endemic also to the other tech companies here in Silicon Valley. So marami po ang natanggal. Marami pa na nawalan ng trabaho. The companies are now right sizing from after the pandemic. So that's really big news. However, on the other side of things, um, the October data has come in and inflation has slowed down. No, not slowed down, but is less than
Steady.
expected. No, it is less than expected. The projection kasi is that inflation would go up to 7.9%. Now the rate is around, but it ended up at 7.7. So maybe, all right, the strategy of the Fed, no, ang Bangko Sentral dito sa US, is to of raising interest rates, is already has that effect, no, of cooling down inflation. But on the ground, inflation, we actually see the effects of inflation right now. So mas nagmamahal na, no? Gas prices are up. Gas prices of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index for basic goods, is also
Yeah,
increased.
pero
Mhm.
feeling ko
So,
ba, it's a bit an irony, no? Kasi,
mhm,
di ba, inflation is high, but the spending habit is
mhm,
also high. So,
ending. So yeah. So there's
why
a
is that?
conflict there, no? So ano ba talaga what's the real picture? And because there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of misinformation out there on the effects, no, of interest rates of inflation interest rates, we have on our show tonight an expert, no, who will shed light uh, on us, no, on how these things affect us. Okay? Sino
Yes.
ang guest natin?
Tsaka ano, I really thank her, no, kasi pwede natin talaga siyang tawagin at any time to shed light to these questions of ours, no.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this will also give information to our viewers and to the
Mm-hmm.
public kung ano yung tatanong natin sa kanya later. So, she's a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Business Management in University of the Philippines, Cebu,
Mm-hmm.
and took the Masters of Management in UP Cebu in 2003. She is a registered financial consultant, a certified investment solicitor, a chartered wealth manager, a registered estate planner, and she was also the former officer of the registered financial consultants. And currently, she holds the office as a vice president and branch head in this mean of First Metro Asset Management Incorporated, or FAMI. And she has around 20 years of experience already in this industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Imelda Estrada.
Hello, Miss Hyde. Thank you
Hi!
for that
Good to see you
introduction,
again.
no? And Sonny, nice to see
Hi,
you both again. Thank you for having me once
Of
again.
course, no?
hi,
So,
Ma'am
isa pa
Imelda.
may expert nga pwedeng
Hello.
makatubag sa among mga pangutana, ikaw ra gyud, among mahimduman.
Yes, Ma'am Imelda is a friend of the show. She has been with us. She has been a guest on this show, and siya po ang go to natin whenever things happen, no, on a
Things
macroeconomic scale.
happen.
And we
Yeah,
want
it's
to
quite
make
an honor.
sense.
It's quite an
Correct.
honor to be, I enjoyed being with you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's true, son. No, we haven't seen each other the last time you were here. I know
Yeah.
your schedule was tight according to Miss
Like tayo,
Heidi.
Ma'am, sorry. Sorry hindi tayo nagkita. Pero it would have been fun, no, kung magkita ta. Ganun.
Yeah, oo.
Bawi na lang ko, Ma'am,
Looking
whenever you
forward
come.
for that soon.
It's
Oo.
okay,
Bawi na lang ko,
Sonny.
Ma'am, if you come back.
Naka-schedule na si Ma'am Imelda pod mag-US. Kay
Tama ba?
hapit na ang Black Friday.
Heights, magkuyog di ay no?
If
Yeah. I
you're,
could vividly remember during this time, murag nangandam na ka pa US.
Yeah.
if you're ever in the San Francisco area, give me a call. Sige, I'll show you around.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's great to have Ma'am Imelda here, no? So an expert voice, no, to make sense and to simplify, no, the things that are happening right now, and to see how all of this, inflation, interest rates, and borrowing money, no, debt, no, impacts you and us, no, the ordinary citizens. How does that affect us, no? So let's get right into today's discussion about inflation, interest rates, and debt, because topic these are hot topics right now, buzzwords, and coming into the season, it's probably a good idea to see what are the and coming into the new year actually also, no, what are what are the areas of or opportunities and maybe even strategies, no, to capitalize on this landscape, no, this economic landscape of high inflation, high interest rates. But first, as we said, no, there's plenty of misinformation about what interest rate and inflation is, no? And Ma'am Imelda is our resident expert. Okay, our
And
resident
also
expert.
have, before
Hindi
we
naman.
proceed,
Ayaw
yung
pala
mga
bihisan.
Okay.
viewers natin, San, Ma'am Imelda, they can actually shoot a question while we
Mhm.
are doing the interview.
Yeah.
Kasi this is a very, a hot topic right now, no? So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure meron din sila mga questions in mind. So feel free po to type in your questions.
Right. Okay. So let's get right into it. No, first and foremost, no, Ma'am Imelda, we'd like to ask a question. Unsa ba ni? Ano ba
Kung
ito?
sa gidni.
Unsa gud ni? Unsa gud ni? Unsa gud ning
But your
inflation?
son.
Kana no? Unsa gud ning inflation?
Yeah. So as you mentioned earlier, this is one of the most discussed word right now. No,
Mm.
I'm sure uh, in the States, in the Philippines, ito yan worldwide, inflation. So, well, this is also something that hit us. No, the moment that you gas up, the moment that you go to the restaurants with your groceries. No, so this is practically something that hit us. Now, um, inflation, of course, is the rate at which prices of goods and services are going. Now, ang ano lang natin dito, San, or
Mm.
Miss Hides, is that um, what makes it, you know, bakit tumaas siya bigla, no? Yung inflation natin.
Mhm.
If you try to look at uh, if you try to look at the rate right now, the inflation rate is hovering around 7.7. That was an increase of
Okay.
like 6.9, no,
Okay.
from hello, am I still okay?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah,
Loud and
okay. So,
clear.
yeah. Anyway, one way to more or less look at inflation is to look at the variables in it. No, we have what we call as the consumer price index. So this is a very important equation when you try to come up with the inflation rate.
Right.
So unsa maning consumer price index. So this is the one. This is an indicator of change. No, we look at the average prices of goods and services that is commonly purchased nato. No, that is commonly purchased.
Right.
So of course, if you try to look at the consumer price index, this is an index of more or less, if I'm not mistaken, mga 12 groupings that we have.
Yes.
No, we have that what we call as the base year. Then you have the market basket. This means that these are the goods that we are trying to monitor. And these are the goods and services that are more or less the relevant ones. Kanang regular na nga gipamalit. No? So this is determined by the Philippine Statistics uh, office of the government. So they release this inflation rate on an annual basis or on a monthly basis. No, so well, of course, na ay formula ni Miss Heights, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't dare look at the formula kay mag-nose
Mm.
kay mag-nosebleed. So very important to have that, but the very important component is the consumer price index. No, so
Yes.
that's one of the important equation when we try to look at the inflation rate. Now, why is it as you mentioned earlier nga minsaka man siya og kalit, no? Pas
Yeah.
kaayo. So I just would like to get my notes on that. No, if you try to
Sure.
look at the inflation rates in the year 2019, that was just 2.39%.
Pre-pandemic po.
Very
And
low.
then we went
Pandemic,
into the
right?
pandemic year of 2020. Wala to
Mhm.
siya changes. It's just around 2.39
Mhm.
as well. But there was a little bit of a tick in 2021, which is a 3.93%. And right
Okay.
now, we're looking at, as of October, that was around this last month. No, that's around 7.3%.
More than twice.
So
No?
you see the significant increase, no?
Mm.
And that's where we try to look at the reasons behind it. There
Mm.
are what we call as the stimulus for that, no? It can be that there is an increase in money supply, or
Yes.
probably there is an impact of the supply of, the supply and demand of the goods and services. Now,
Mm.
if you try to look at the backdrop in the country, we're coming in from the pandemic, right? Coming in
Yes.
from the pandemic, wherein
Mm.
everyone is quarantined, restricted, no movement whatsoever.
Mm.
Okay, for the last like
Two
2020,
two years.
2021,
Right.
for the last 2 years, no? And then here comes the vaccine. You
Okay.
know, naana ang vaccine, and then people are now starting to get out, be comfortable, no? And which means that the economy is opening up. When the economy was opening up, there were no restrictions anymore. People are already free coming in
Mm.
and out, and you see that the traffic, foot traffic in the malls, makita ninyo na, even in the restaurants, murag shoulder to shoulder na ang mga tao. It's going
Sagalan ng
back to
traffic na.
pandemic times. So
Mhm.
As they
when the
say,
economy opens up, no, people are really raring to spend.
yeah,
No?
as they
So
say
they're
nga,
spending.
galit sa pera na yung mga tao, di ba?
Yes. I was talking to Sonny earlier, Miss Hides, and I was talking about revenge spending.
Oh,
Revenge.
No? O
that's the
na-pinch
English
mo
word
ito
for that.
makatuwid. And then
Revenge
you want a
spending.
revenge out of that. So you're really spending to travel. And you would see that, di ba?
Yeah.
Travel, the consumption, going to restaurants, moving out,
Right.
and everything else. So that practically added to that's inflationary because you're spending a lot, and
Mhm.
then the circulation of money moving into the economy is very fast.
Right.
Second,
That,
um, the inflation is quite high because if you try to look at like who would have thought that Russia would invade Ukraine
mhm.
Yeah.
sometime in the first quarter, right?
Last year, yeah.
And then I would say, well, there's a war out there,
Right.
and that war has a downside. It's because you see, if you try to look at Russia and its role in the world right now, this is the third biggest oil
Oil producer
contributor
in the world.
in the world.
Literally.
No, so that's Russia, and even Ukraine. Ukraine also is one of the significant supplier of commodity goods. So there is what we call as parang short supply uh, problem that we encountered because
Okay.
of the challenges, no, because of that war. And third, China because of their policy, 'di ba? Na
Restrictions
zero
in China.
COVID, meaning na
Mhm.
confine na sad ang syempre they're a big exporter.
Yeah.
Almost all products are made in
Ah,
China, and it just so happened that people are being locked down because of
right.
their zero COVID policy. So that's precisely the reason why the inflation really shoots up. But
Right.
this is not only happening in the Philippines, no? This is a global challenge that we have right
Yep.
now, the global inflation that we're looking at. No, it's everywhere, and as have you said, Sunny, I guess it's the same. No,
Yep.
in fact, all central banks right now are looking at the U.S. on how they can possibly contain inflation
Mhm.
and more or less looking at how the US can also contain that, no, the strategy that the monetary board is adapting at this point in time.
Yeah. So
Yun.
for the information of everybody, interest rates are determined by the Fed, no, or the central bank here in the U.S., known as the Federal Reserve, and they have increased the interest rates, no, over the past four times already, no, four times this year alone, which is unprecedented, in an effort, no, to contain inflation. Which brings us next question: why is that? No, how is interest rates tied up to inflation? Right, interest rate inflation.
Yeah.
Ma'am Imelda?
Yeah. It's true because right now, if you try to look at the regulatory government agency for that, gibalanse gid sa central bank sa no. When everything is
Yeah.
the
Mm,
prices of goods and services are too high, then they must more or
mm,
less balance it. Now, the only
right.
tool that they can have is
They can.
the interest rates. No, it's either if they want to more or less objective is to expand the economy or
Right.
constrict the economy.
Mm,
What they usually have is the interest rates. But
mm,
right now, of course, the tool that the monetary board or our central bank is using is the interest rate. So
mhm.
they raise it several times, and they followed suit on what the U.S. government as well is doing. Now, what's the implication of this? If you raising the interest rates, of course, people now would probably be hesitant to more or less spend and rather just place their money on a rising interest rates or rates that are being offered by the bank, no? So
Mm.
instead of, spending that, murag isiphon nato with
Yeah.
that, no, with the high interest rates. Now, although that will also have an impact on uh, the businesses who'd like to
Right.
expand. Because if
Mm.
they want to borrow money from the bank, taas gyud ang rates, ana. So the purpose of raising the interest rates, because we have an inflation to fight, okay, uh, is to more or less slow down the circulation of money
Right.
in the economy. So that's the purpose why
Mm.
we have to raise it. Now, in fact, if you try to look at what the central bank or the Fed is doing in the US, they're very keen and very focused on cutting the inflation rate, and they don't mind if they're going to raise it more as long as it hits the target. Because,
Mm.
as the monetary policies or the central banks that we have here, medyo naagid tayo target as sarataman ang inflation.
Maybe.
If it hits more than that, then they have to do something about some tools, either
Right.
to raise it or cut it. But right now, with the scenario that we have, nga taas ang iyahang inflation rate, naturally, the tool that they're using right now is really to increase
Mm.
the interest rates.
Right.
Yon.
And what they're saying right now is that medyo aggressive nga, no? The Fed has been
Yeah.
pretty aggressive in raising interest rates to combat inflation. Uh, the rate has increased 6 times in the year, no? Six times
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah.
and right now it's around 3.75 to 4%. No, the cost of borrowing money. So and so that means it's more
It's more
it's difficult.
expensive to
The cost
borrow
of
money
borrowing
now.
money is
Yeah.
high.
Oo.
It's
Oo.
more expensive to borrow money right now. So the Fed is hoping that because of that, people will be discouraged or more encouraged, let's say, to save money or pull money out of the money supply, no, to put it, to pull money out of the money supply, and very aggressive. Self, some would say that it is self. It's the medicine. Sorry, the medicine is worse than the disease, but it's something that it's a tool, no, that the Fed, um, let's say, employed. That's right. Is
Yeah,
that
it really has an impact because it will slow down the
mm,
businesses. No,
businesses,
so
right?
well, they have a target inflation rate to hit,
Mm-hmm.
and in your case, I guess that's around 2%. They'd like
2%,
to
right?
go back to a 2% inflation rate from a high of 8. So can you imagine the several times increases that they have, not less than 75 bips each time they increase that. And so what happens here in the country, sa Atu Asad, we're
Mm,
following that strategy. So according to our own central bank, they have enough tools to do that, which means they can still increase that rate. In fact, they're going to meet on the 17th for that, no, for policy making, new round again. And most of the economists are expecting that they're going to raise the rates again. So
right. Okay.
try to look at the interest rates right now. A year ago, it was just 1.4%. Now, right now, if you try to look at a 1 year the 91-day treasury bill rate, is more or less around 4.9%.
Yeah.
So that's
Times four.
how, syempre, kung ikaw, you have that rate of return, then you'd rather
Mm,
not spend it and then just place it in the bank. So
right.
Yeah,
that will
and
more or
wait.
less add to the, slowdown, no,
Right.
medyo mo na atong gusto nga dili good heated good ang
Mm,
circulation of money.
money.
So that's just how the monetary board or the central
Mm,
bank is doing it. No?
yeah.
Pero correct me if I'm right, no? Yeah. This is not the highest inflation rate, right? Based on history.
This is one of the highest in 14 years.
One.
This
Yeah.
highest, the
One of the
7.7.
highest.
Oo.
Mm,
in 14 years. No? So um, there are a lot of variables that are, mixing together, like what I've mentioned, the opening up the economy, the
Yeah.
consumer spending is there, and then the supply shortage that we have. No, that can also add up.
Mhm.
Meaning, kung the demand is high but the supply is not there,
Yeah.
well, syempre, prices usually goes up. So
Right.
it's there. That's why most of the central banks, and not only in the country, no, they are focused on really, normalizing that or cutting the
Yeah.
inflation rate.
Right. Okay. So we have only just begun our discussion, no, on all of these things, these technical things. But how does this affect you, no, the ordinary person? We're gonna continue this discussion with Mom Imelda. A very enlightening conversation for now, no. And when we come back from this very short commercial break.
Greenfield District, the future-ready district, home to Greenfield Tower, with its state-of-the-art fiber-optic internet backbone. Connectivity is built right into residences like Twin Oaks Place. 15 flourishing hectares right at the heart of Metro Manila, so that at work and at play, we can plant a future where dreams grow. Greenfield District, the future-ready district. All right, welcome back, everybody.
The new channel is an online alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all of our shows as seen on the screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you.
The new channel aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our channel is a responsible global 24/7 platform that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity.
Please watch our show Money and More with Sunny and Haydee here on the new channel. Tuesdays 4:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in the US and Tuesdays 8:30 p.m. in the Philippines. You can watch live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC now.
And we also accept sponsorships for our show and for other shows. You just have to email us at the new now at the newchannel.com or send us a DM direct message. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we specially made them for you.
And just in case you don't know, we are 40 days to Christmas! Yay! 40 days to go, magpapasko na, the biggest holiday in the Philippines. Ang taas ng Christmas dyan, ba, August pa lang Christmas na.
Oh, tingnan mo. Oh.
And, yeah, and 40 days, magpapasko na po tayo. Alright! Welcome back. We are here with Imelda, with Imelda Estrada, and we are having this casual conversation on inflation, interest rates, and debt. Welcome back, Ma'am Imelda. I'm very,
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas!
Very radiant ito sa Ma'am Imelda. No? All right. Now, we've been talking about inflation. We've been talking about interest rates. We've been talking about the cost of money, businesses, borrowing money is becoming more expensive. They say, how does this affect you? How does this affect us, the ordinary citizens? Right. So, because of this misinformation, a lot of misinformation that's happening, let's ask the experts, no? Like Ms. Imelda. First, Ma'am Imelda, ordinaryo kong tao, kunya nangingon sila, inflation daw, inflation, okay, taas daw interest rate. How does this affect me? For example, how does this affect my savings plans sa banko? How does this affect my money in the bank?
Well, I think despite what's happening around us, I know that there
Okay.
are challenges, no,
Yes.
that we've been experiencing quite lately.
Mhm.
Yun na nga, inflation prices are high. Uh, Interest rates are going up, but in the midst of all this, there are really opportunities, and
Okay.
I just would like to probably zero in on investment. No, so
Mhm.
with all
Okay.
that's happening around us, it doesn't stop anyone from continuing to save money. No, so because there are things that we should understand. I know that there are no tried and true advice that will really protect one from the challenges that we are facing. But I guess there are just steps that you can take,
Mhm.
to cover your bases. Just try to, the most important thing is to try to come up on top, regardless of if it's
Okay.
a bear market or whatever it is. No, so siguro I'll just would like to give you siguro mga three strategies that we can
Sure.
take with what's happening around us. No, so I guess first of all, I would advise if you are an investor right now, syempre, a lot of questions on your mind. No? Um, is it investing in the bank or going somewhere else or keeping
Mhm.
it in your cabano? So first, especially if you're trying to get into the market, the most important thing is don't try to time the market, because right now a lot of people are
Yeah.
really trying to more or less saying na ay hala ko musulod if it's really okay na, kung normal na everything. For people or for those investors who are really would like to go into the stock market, we have to understand that right now the sentiment of the market is quite negative, especially with what's
Yep.
happening with high
Mhm.
inflation, high interest rates. People are very more or less cautious and they're just on the sidelines. And as you see, the market is really unpredictable. So if you try to time it, medyo that's really a very risky business to do.
Yeah.
It can be if you're already in the market and then if it goes down, ang tendency magud nato is uh, to more or less you have more or less quick to sell, no, which means that ang tendency nato is really to sell it immediately, no, kung unsay shares, because of the fear that you have of the market. Or for
Human
those who
nature.
are not into the market yet, medyo you're holding off to some investments. Now my advice is that rather than timing the market, it would be very important for you to more or less focus on the time that you got to have in the market, which means that um, you just have to have a real and clear financial plan, regardless of what's
Okay.
happening around. Okay,
Mm.
so you have to focus on how long you can be in the market, and more or less try to match your investment objective with a very specific investment vehicles, because there are plenty out there. So, if you try to look at some investors as well, ang tendency man sa good nila is that uh, medyo hadlock sila in going into the market, because what if the stock market will
Go
fall
deeper.
if they invest? Now, you have to also ask another question. Uh, what if you don't invest and then the market rises? Because right now, kung tanawon sad nimo, all of these things are happening, but there will always be a rebound. Okay, that's
Yeah.
why everything would more or less go back to the normal way of life that we have. So that's just it. Just don't possibly try to uh, time the market. At
Yeah.
this point in time, another advice that I can give also to uh, an investor is that I guess you just have to rethink your strategy, no, right now, no. Instead of asking yourself, "Am I going to invest? Kinhalan ba ko nga mo invest?" Think about how you're going to invest. I think that's the most important thing, San, di ba?
Right.
Besides, no, how
Yeah.
you're going to invest. Because if you try to look at the swings right now, regardless of the cyclical swings that we are experiencing right now, historical experience would show us that the best time to invest, I would say, is consistently. So
Mhm.
again, if you have that opportunity to invest, do it consistently. Okay, so consistent lang ta. That's why we have what we call as the dollar averaging, peso averaging,
Cost
because
averaging.
regardless of what's happening, in fact, you can even save as low as 500 pesos or 1,000 pesos. Just continue doing it.
Mhm.
Using this strategy. Of course there is that formula, and I know most siguro of our viewers are familiar with that. And the formula goes like, income, you have to pay yourself first before you spend, so um, peso averaging is very important, especially when there's a bear market. You can more or less take advantage of the low prices that we have. What is
Right.
important is that you do this consistently. Do
Mhm.
this consistently, regardless of uh, what's happening, no? Especially
Yeah.
so kung naa pa kay source of income, no? So
Right.
if you have that source of income, maniguro kita og setting that aside, no?
Mhm.
Because there are opportunities. Prices are quite low right now.
Mhm.
So that's one. And I think the last but not the least is you have to diversify, no,
Mhm.
diversify your portfolio. I know that right now, if you're an investor, the market or what's happening around us probably will make you uneasy. So that's why it's very important na you diversify your assets, no,
Mhm.
rather than selling it na mataranta na taka atong isell because the market is falling down. Staying the course is very important. Now stick to your goal and then have an asset mix of all of that. No, you can even go to a mutual fund. You can go to a mutual fund wherein it's also a very diversified type of investment vehicle. So I think those are just some of the important things
Mhm.
that an ordinary or an investor
Mhm.
can do at these very difficult times that we have.
Yes, and
Yeah.
certainly,
With regards
certainly,
to saving up consistently, no, na yung
Yeah, yeah.
regular na saving. I can really attest to that because see, Mom Imelda is actually a living testimony for that. No, she has been setting aside something since way back, and she's able to reap the the
yeah.
results of what she has consistently saved for
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah, and right now with this environment, with a high interest environment, you are incentivized actually, to save, to put money aside. In fact, there are new bank products coming out. Some things that we haven't seen in the past 20 years, Mami Imelda.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Like
You just have to
yeah,
diversify.
yeah, you're having cash deposits now at 4%, 3% rate, no?
Correct.
Na nagkaroon. Something that we haven't seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Na, no? So that's an incentive for us to save. It's an opportunity for us to be able to to grow our money in traditional instruments. But what if
Mhm.
I want to say, what if I want to spend? Okay, I
You can spend whatever you
Yeah,
want, son.
just
Okay,
like
you just have to strike
how
a
will
balance on that. No, you cannot.
uh-huh.
Uh, there are things that beyond our control. There is beyond our
Right.
control. But then, I think you just have to look in and look at the opportunities. No,
Okay.
I guess Heidi is correct. You cannot go wrong with setting aside for yourself because all of these things that's happening is just temporary. No, we might have a temporary increase in rates,
Mhm.
and it might reverse to another direction. So that's why mas maayo you have to
yeah.
break
And
that up.
besides, you will not be setting aside your entire income, right? It's just
Yeah,
a
that's
portion,
right.
small portion of it. So something that you can live without. So yun. And going back to Sunny's statement kanina, what if I would want to spend, no? Just like mga short-term plans na po. I would want to go on a vacation. I would like to
Yeah.
purchase a new car, especially now that diesel is so high and people would want to shift to buying
Mhm.
gasoline. So how is that?
Yeah. I guess right now it will also encourage you to do double job.
Oh, well,
Because
that's definitely
prices are
the mission for
increasing.
that.
Prices are
Right.
increasing, and then you're looking at your budget. So it's up to you. It can be a motivator to you, no?
Yeah.
What is important is that right now life does not stop because of this.
Mhm.
No, we just have to take this, because with a grain of salt. It's because right now naaman sa gupoy opportunities,
Correct.
especially on the investment side. But again, we have to strike a balance because Miss Hides, if you really want to, for 2 years you're locked up and you want
Yeah.
to travel, then it's up to you. But then again, there are several ways to do that. You might more or less uh, do that smartly, no? Na probably considering nearby areas for vacation para at least dili kaayo that expensive. I
Yes.
mean, it's up to you.
Change of
Ang ako
environment
lang,
lang.
yeah, yeah. Ang ako lang is that for me as a financial planner, it doesn't stop us to
Yes.
invest. Because most of the mindset, Manggod Karon, is that, no, I have to wait. I really have to wait when things will get normalized.
Right.
But
No, we just
you
have
know,
to be consistent
mhm.
on your approach, especially for investment. You cannot go wrong with that. I'd like to share with you, Miss Hides and Sana, na, I've seen like different crises, no?
Mm.
The global recession, the Asian financial crisis, name it. We have four. I mean,
Yes.
mailhan na gyud atong edad ani. Anyway,
How about Natabag ko ma'am sa 1997,
Yeah.
Asian
Oo.
crisis.
It is at these times, it is at these times that more or less it gives you rather a lot of opportunities. Just
Right.
look at the index right now. It's hovering around 6,400. Hit a
That's right.
high of around 7,100
Yes.
in the first quarter. So that's just the opportunity right now. But again, um, it's up to you. It's your discarte. You have to balance it out if you want to also, pamper yourself uh, in a way. No?
But the good thing about now, no, I have observed, kasi unlike before, person could only have one job, di ba? The thing now
Tama.
is even employers are no longer restricting their employees to have side jobs or side hustles because they
Yeah,
also understand that
Mm.
employees should be able to look for other alternatives to augment their income.
Right.
Correct? Sa
yeah,
panahon na
yeah.
to, there's a loyalty question. In fact, kung
Mhm.
naa kay laing job, you will be adjudged as moonlighting, right? But
Yeah,
now it's so open already.
yeah,
A lot of people that I know has two, three jobs already. So in that way, they can also, even if there's inflation, they can still afford to spend because the income stream is also coming from
Right.
different
in a
sources.
way.
Mas
Yes.
daghan sila kwarta karon actually.
Actually, that's a very good point. No, we can only
Yeah.
save so much toward in our journey of. We can only invest so much in our journey of financial freedom. But the biggest driver for financial freedom right now is income. No, and it can come from many sources. Dili lang sa usa.
Yes.
No. Dili lang sa usa. So one of the messages here in our show has always been, well, it's okay to save. It's savings and investing is part of our strategy, whether short term or long term. Increasing income will be the will be the foundation of
Yeah,
doing
that's
all
right.
of
That's the
that.
solution actually.
Right, of doing all of that. So that's why, yeah. So we need to be able to increase our income as well. And sometimes maybe we can't wait for a promotion, we can't wait for a salary increase. So there's nothing wrong with a side hustle, as Heidi
Yeah.
said. Here in the US, the gig economy, as they call it, no, the gig economy is thriving. People become independent contractors, no, monetizing their talents on
Yes.
platforms like Fiverr and so on and so forth, no. So these are the things that can be done, no. Ayaw lang ta mahadlok mo to ang panmurag ang atong message, no. Ayaw ta mahadlok.
Yeah, that's
For one, yeah, ayaw lang ta mahadlok that our lives stop or kuan na kuan ba ma-paralyze na, no, because of the changes that
Yeah.
are happening. It's just a different environment, and information like this will help you make sound decisions later on, no. So we've been talking about the strategies, no. Right now we probably don't see it, but what about our long-term plans, no? How does this affect my retirement, for example? Do you have any insight for us, Ma'am Imelda?
I would assume that if you're thinking about retirement, you could have started early on, no?
Yes.
If you have already a fund set aside for that, you stick it out.
Right.
Okay, stay the course for that.
Mhm.
No, um, if you are into equities and then building up that equities para sa imuhang
Mhm.
retirement, I think this is the time for you to build up more because of the prices, which is quite um, cheap right
Cheap.
now. The index is still on its low, no? Now, can you imagine if it will reverse? Can you imagine if things will get better in the future? Because,
Mhm.
well, we're quite confident that it will be because of the strong fundamentals that we have in the country. No, it's purely sentiment right now, Stan. So,
Mhm.
if you're trying to build up for your retirement, the most important thing is, of course, if you haven't started now, you start now. You start now, and again, do not wait, because
Mm.
some people again are saying, or siguro ang atong mindset is that I will start when everything will normalize, right? But
Yeah.
look beyond that, because
Mhm.
there are opportunities. For example, the equities.
Mhm.
or if you'd like to more or less have that preservation stage for that retirement, the rates right
Mhm.
now are high, no,
Right.
for fixed income. So
For
again,
fixed income, yeah.
yes, so that can also prepare you and can give possibly give you more in preparation for your retirement or for any long term goals that you're going to have. The most
Right.
important thing lang is that I think you have to pay off your debt. Kung naamanggali kay debt karon, especially for credit cards and
Yeah.
everything, because of the rate sad no nga
The rate is
taas. And then
high.
you will, yeah, you will be hit with that. No, you will be hit with that kung
Mm.
if you don't liquidate it as early as now.
Right. Especially if you have a what do you call it? Not fixed. Let's say a uh, variable rate, no,
Yeah,
on your
Loans.
loan
mortgage, or
in your
whatever.
mortgage. Yeah,
On your mortgage, if you're hit by a variable rate, you're gonna feel that because the cost of borrowing money is high right now. No? So you have to retire the debt as soon as you can. No? So that's something that you need to look at into your portfolio right now. For us, we talking about. Oh, okay. So, Ma'am Imelda, you've been talking about the strategies, no? All of these strategies to, let's say, minimize the impact or maximize the impact, which brings us to the question, um, what there's this question kasi, what is harder to change? Your spending? Is it harder to save money or to cut your spending? Diba? Because you can employ both strategies kasi. Do you, yeah, is it harder to save
Similar lang naman
or
yan.
is it harder to cut your spending?
harder.
No, no, that's really a debate na pinag-usapan namin yan eh. Unsay
Talaga,
mas unsay mas let's say bugat
mas lisod.
mas lisod kinsa mas lisod mo save or mo cut sa spending. Ako, I'm in the camp of kung unsa imong lifestyle ron lisod kayo mo gawas diha. Now it's so hard to get out of that lifestyle right now.
I
No, to be
mean,
honest.
you
To be
should
honest.
be
Yeah,
within
yeah.
your
Right.
lifestyle.
It's so hard to get out of your current spending habits, no? So cutting your budget is actually more you're cutting your budget. It's actually more challenging, no? Mas lisod kayo siya. It's really more difficult, no?
Then saving.
Then let's say increasing income. Yeah, then saving, no? So what's harder, increasing your income or cutting your expenses? I would say it's harder to cut your expenses. So it's
Well, different folks,
easier.
different strokes. Different folks, different strokes. Sano.
Okay,
Whichever will
okay,
Um,
right. Hindi, hindi
uh,
tayo yan. Debate yan.
well, you can do both. You can more or less adjust to some lifestyles, especially if the going gets tough. At the
Okay.
same time, if you have that kind of asset that it's innate in you, because
Mm,
different folks, different strokes. If you're a person
okay.
who's really passionate, if you're a person that is disciplined, if you are a person that's so focused, it's that very difficult for you to find other ways of increasing your
Find a
income,
way.
right? So you can do both. You can have other sidelines aside from your main line, and at the same time also scrimp a little bit because you have a goal. The most important thing is you do that with you having a financial goal. Kasi that
Okay.
will inspire you, that will motivate you to do more. So the goal should be the focal point. Because right now, syempre, dapat nakafocus ka on your goal. What do you really want? Because if you have that, then you can afford to scrimp. At the same time, you can afford to get another job or erase the scrimping. Ang imuhang pag-budget, but then again,
Budget.
focus on that job. A mixture of it or any of those. The most important thing is you have an objective why you're doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, your current job actually pays for the things that you need, right?
Right.
The
Yeah,
side hustle is for your wants. Of course, you also have
yeah.
to
Well,
treat
that's a strategy.
yourself, no? And you don't have to limit yourself or, na dili ka pwede mo buhat and it's because inflation karon, if you can afford, why not, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
that's mainly the reason why you need to increase or look for another source of
correct.
income to be able to afford, quote
Mm.
unquote, kung ano
To
yung
Yeah.
afford
gusto
your
mo,
lifestyle.
right?
Yeah. So
That's why there
very
is what we call as bad debt and good debt, no? So do
okay.
not ever go into a debt, uh, and then you're using that to enjoy yourself. No? So kasi at
Yes.
the end of the day, ikaw pa rin ang magbabayad niyan. And
Yep.
you just have to match it. Can you really afford it? So if
Yeah.
not, according to Miss Heidi, then look for ways for you to achieve that. But again, the enjoyment part should also be part of the goal. Because
Yes.
when you set that goal, financial goal, it should be the short term, the medium, or the long term goal. So that's part of it. So well,
Yeah.
again,
One of my
nakafocus ka doon.
Yeah, one of my philosophies is that when you reward yourself, rewarding yourself is not a crime. Rewarding yourself is actually a checkpoint, a signpost, no, that you are on the right track, that you are actually doing the right thing.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
rewarding yourself, so that
You
means you're
reward
already
yourself.
doing something right. Okay, you're on the right track. Pero kung puro reward yan, yeah, let's not get there, no. Getting into bad debt to reward yourself may not be a good idea in a high interest environment, in a high inflation
Correct.
environment. All right. So we try to strike a balance. It's also important for us, dear viewers, no, to educate yourself. Yan, all right. Educate yourself. Listen to the experts. Um, um, what's this? Get the right information, and also speak to your financial planner. Right. Ayaw
Yeah.
mahadlok. All right.
Or
Ayaw
talk
mahadlok.
to Ma'am Imelda, right? You can get in touch with her directly.
Yeah.
Especially there is an avenue, there is an instrument that could maybe people watching would want to ask. I would want to start my savings or investment,
Mhm.
and how can I do it? For
Yeah.
how much should I start with? Because people would always think that when
Mhm.
you start with your investments or setting aside something, regular
Mhm.
na savings, it would cost them much. Well, in fact, ngayon meron ng mga
Great.
Yeah.
available na very low ang startups, right, Ma'am Imelda? If you would want to talk about it shortly, dun sa yung FAMI
Mhm.
na
Yeah.
investment.
Right now we have a facility for that now because we really encourage savings amongst everyone. No, if you have that goal, we have what this is also in line with what I'm saying earlier, Miss Heights, about
Yes,
peso
regular.
averaging,
Yeah.
which means that you do a regular investment regardless of the price, regardless of the circumstances. You do it on a regular basis. The the upside there is that the more that you cost average, the more that you invest on a regular basis, the more shares that you have. No, I'm talking about shares because I'm referring to mutual funds, which are
Yes, yes.
our product itself. So you're a
Okay.
shareholder of this. No, so if you do that on a regular basis, ang objective lang yun, Ani, is to build up the shares. By the
Mm-hmm.
time that you would be needing a portion of it or fall of it, at least you can sell some or all of the shares that you have. When you talk about capital requirement, you're correct. The capital requirement is just very minimal. You can even invest as low as 1,000 pesos, or we can, for 1,000 pesos regularly. You know, the beauty of this, Miss Hides, because, I'm really, I'm passionate about this, is the
Mhm.
habit that you're going to
Yes.
develop once you start this. Have that habit of paying yourself before anybody else. Because kung dili na nimo mabuhat, hindi mo magawa yan, parang kulang.
Yeah.
So you
Because
do
you're
this on a
getting
regular
used to it.
basis. Yeah, you do this on a regular basis. The more income that you have, no, the more allocation that you're going to have for yourself. Why would you do this? Because again, focus yourself, set your eyes on the goals that you'd like to have in your life. No? So, very affordable, very convenient. If you are interested, no, you can approach me. You can more or less reach out to us. First Metro Asset Management. We have an
Yeah.
office in Cebu IT Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they
So
can actually course through us so that we can refer them to you.
Yes, yeah. Because
right.
Miss Hides is also a financial planner here. isa lang besides, no, with what's happening around us, I guess as an investor, they should look for a partner,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that they can talk to, especially if they have plans.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi with the volatile landscape that we have right now, ang tendency is that you decide on your own. You do a quick sell. You do like you don't do anything. But if you have a partner, if you have a financial planner with you, talking to you, giving you some points and hints here and there, no, at least you'll be guided. It's not emotions anymore, but it will be reason
Reason.
uh, that will empower you. No,
Right.
so again, you have Sonny, you have Haydee, no, and of course you have me.
Of course. Siyempre naman. It's always a pleasure to talk about this, no, because we are in the. It is during these times that we in the financial services industry, we are positioned in best, to be able to help our clients and help people, people will come to you. I lost 40% of my portfolio in the stock market. What do I do? Okay, so kita, we are the ones that we are the ones that are
Yeah.
in that position, to be able to give them reasonable advice. And oh yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mommy Melda, no, for your time today. No,
My
As
pleasure.
always, thank you so much.
daghang kayo mga golden nuggets that we picked up, no, from what you discussed, no. Um, it's always a good idea to consult an expert, no, on matters like this so you can make sound financial decisions. So thank you so much, Mommy Melda, no, for this enlightening. Isang oras na, hindi natin alam na isang oras na pala lumilipas.
Yeah, and
All right, so
the next time siguro, San, we will be inviting Ma'am Imelda is to talk more about the available investments from her
Mhm.
company.
Would love
right.
to. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mommy Melda. We'll see you in a while.
Thank you.
All right. So that wraps up our episode for today. Thank you so much to our viewers watching tonight, and I hope that you were able to pick up, no, Heidi, no, kita, we were able to
Medyo
pick up
technical siya na topic, no?
medyo
But I
technical, but
hope,
there are some golden nuggets
yes,
that I picked up, no. Number one, you cannot time the market, yung sa akin, no, and regular investment or building up that habit
regular savings. Correct.
is the one that will lift us up from what's happening right now. What's your biggest golden nugget, Heidi?
Pero sa akin naman, yung same with you, yung
Mhm.
regular investment. Kasi hindi, you will not have fear kung whatever is happening in the economy, no?
Right.
Whether mataas or inflation or mababa, as long as you will have that discipline to regularly save.
Right. And as we always say here in Money and More, thank you so much for our viewers. Always remember that financial freedom,
Is in your hands.
right?
This is
Sam
Heidi
Haldon
Haldon
of Money and More,
and
TNC.
Heidi Haldon as well of Money and More, TNC. See you again next week.
All right. Good night,
Good night.
everybody.